Hi everyone. Today I would like to talk about Tron Legacy. So it's a live action movie from Disney. I believe it's the sequel to Tron, and hopefully they'll make a third one. Yeah, well, it's really awesome. For some reason, yeah, I stumbled upon it, years ago, and it's one of the uh, movies that resonated with me. Every time I watch it, there's something new to learn. Specifically, well, as an overview, if you are spiritually inclined, technologically inclined, and even politically inclined, you will find, yeah, lots of things to for you, lots of treasures there in that movie. So, uh, for me, at first, what struck me was there's a lot of biblical references. Uh, because Tron is about uh, well, humans that for some reason were able to uh, go into the world that they created, the computer world that they created. So it's about the creator and later on the son going into their created world. So yeah, does that sound familiar? It sounds very biblical, right? And later on, we are introduced to Clue, which represents, the angels, the fallen angels, because they were created, but they chose to rebel against their creator. Uh, Programs are the created ones. So the creatures, literally, you have the users, the creators, and then you have the programs, the creatures. So think about it. Why do we have the name creatures? Because you are created, right? So whether or not you agree with that, well, that's where we got that name from. So yeah, so we have Clue, who was, created to manage the affairs of men. But the wonderful thing about Tron was you also have, well, spoilers alert, of course, but you also have the creator admitting, that yes, I created you, Clue, to manage the affairs here and to make them as perfect as possible. But later on, that same creator said, well, I now learn more now. I have learned something new. So it doesn't have to be perfect. There's a lot of unpredictability in life, and that unpredictability gives you growth, like what happened to the creator. And that unpredictability points to life, to free will, to choice that is beyond what machines can do. So literally thinking outside the box. So you have Clue and his forces. They are creatures that rebelled against their creator because they think they know better. So they are trying to do things a bit better. However, there is again also a distinction that just because you want to do things better doesn't make you bad, right? I mean, the creator also made mistakes. The creator also learned from his mistakes. But what made Clue and the baddies was because they chose to kill those who did not agree with them. So when they saw another race, and we'll get to that later, but when they saw a different race of programs who are not really programs, so oh, they did not fit the criteria of perfection of order. So yeah, Clue and his forces killed the other race of programs. Yeah, so there you go. So that is what made them bad, or that's why the movie shows, yeah, who are the good guys, those who choose to bring life and freedom, versus those who, yeah, choose death. Yeah, right. We also have, yeah, now let's go to that other race of humans. So, or humans, or of programs rather. So, we have the isos, the isomorphs. And it's interesting because they're not exactly angels. They're not exactly human either. So they manifested inside that created world. So the creator admitted that he is not the main creator of everything there. He was amazed at these isos. And is it possible that these isos also exist in the human world, right? Outside the program, because the creator did not create them. They were just there, but just like the creator who went into the program, these ISOs also went into the program. So they're more advanced than the creator. And yeah, so that's where we have Cora. So she's the lead female character there. So she's great at, she's better than the average program. She knows how, she can adapt, she can create. So similar to the humans, similar to the users and the creators. Yeah, ISOs like Cora were able to adapt, create, invent, think outside their programming. So yeah, we have that. So it's amazing because it's also a reminder that, yeah, when we think about ourselves, we have life. Yes, I think you can agree. When you are listening to this, you have life, I have life. We have consciousness, we have free will. Even when we have an awful life ahead of us, we can choose to think positively. We can choose to hope for a better future. We can choose to learn from our situation, right? We can see, it is always possible to see light in every situation, to see the good side. So, what there is a question there of, will do animals have that same consciousness? Maybe to a limited degree, or maybe we just don't understand. Maybe they're even more advanced than us and we just don't understand their language, things like that. So we see a lot of evidence for consciousness in animal life, even plant life. And what about computers? So yeah, there's the thing. So I've been using, well, most of us have been using computer programs, like you are watching this on YouTube. But I have also done computer programs. That's part of my job. So for me, it's just a program. You just put some lines and then out comes code. So yeah, think about a vending machine, or think about, scissors or whatever. You do something and then you get the result. Yeah, you input work and then out comes split paper or whatever. Yeah, so okay, I don't think this object has life. And then, but then again, makes me think. So, if there are other creatures, that I cannot see, yeah, just think of this as a possibility, right? I'm not saying it is true, but it is possible. There are things and creatures we cannot see, and they can give life, to whatever object you have, um, because they took the form of those things and then they would speak to us, right? So we have many stories about fairies, angels, giants, aliens. So these not so common creatures, so not seen by everyone, but it's not just one person who sees them. There's a lot of accounts. So why not? It is possible that, yeah, either they would take the form of things that we can see so that we'll get it, right? Either they take that form, or they go into non-living objects like your programs. so that they can communicate to us. So yeah, that's one thing about the ISOs. What if they are also beings like the angels, like the humans, but different, similar yet different. Um, okay, again, spoiler alert. So, the movie ends with Cora being brought into the real world again. So, that's the question now. What happens when, something that's not really human, not really created by the humans as a program, is now into our world? So, what if that's already happening to us right now? Hmm. So something to think about. And due to the happenings of the past almost 3 years, um, our world has reached a place where we can no longer go back, right? Whatever, for good, for better or for worse, we have um, we have turned as a civilization, as a species, and there's no turning back. We have become aware about how controlled everything is. And we are now also more aware of how we can improve our worlds and ourselves for the better. So thank God for the internet, right? So even though there's a lot of scams on the internet, even though the internet can give us access to a lot of harmful images and information, it can also be used for the good. So that's the same for any technology. Any technology can be used for good or for evil. Right now, we are all connected, so we can choose to be connected for the good. So, for me, Tron shows these themes, even though it is a fictional story, or is it, right? Like, it can definitely be possible to have that in our society now. And who knows, it's already happening. You have artificial intelligence that can be used for good or for evil, right? Again, what makes something evil, it is not the number of cells in your body. It is not, whether you are created, by something, but what you choose to do, right? So, um, two people, even twins, can choose to go on different paths. So two programs or one program can be used for good or for evil. One website can be used for good and for evil, right? So it's up to us what to do with what we have as people, and as we create programs, computer programs, instruments, art, science, technology, what have you, right? It's up to us to do that. Mm, let's go back to the spiritual side of things. It's interesting because at the end of the Bible, we have God the Son and having a marriage, a wedding with the church, so the followers. So you have the Son of God and then Jerusalem, his bride. So, okay, the Son of God is fully God and fully man, right? You're both, yeah, in the heavenly world but also in the physical world. Meanwhile, Jerusalem stands for all the humans, all the created ones who chose to take that divine path, who chose to follow Jesus. So, yeah, whether we are Christians or not, it is interesting because you have the combination of God man and wedding with humans, right? And then God man, yeah, because connected to the divine, but also having the full human experience, and then being married to humans. And then these humans are now also going to be given divine birthrights. So it also reminds you of, yeah, in Greek mythology, you have Eros and Psyche. So that's Cupid and Psyche. Yeah, so you have a divine God and then falling in love and marrying uh human, but then later on the human was given godlike properties, godlike existence. She was given godliness, or god, the status of being a god. So they lived happily ever after. So how interesting is that, that we're um how you were born, in whatever situation, it doesn't have to be where where you ended. uh yeah, you can take that in, yeah, spiritually, and yeah, in whatever aspect you can interpret that in. But yeah, spiritually specifically, because yeah, it's not limited to the Christian belief. Even those who believe in other things, you know, beyond the physical, they have some stories as well. So it's not just in the Christian belief, it's not just in the Jewish belief. Yeah, the Greeks have it too. And those who believe in aliens also have the same thing, because yeah, it the theory is, so if life came from other planets, if we were created or bred, yeah, from science experiments, and yeah, created and then given life from the genetic DNA outside the earth, so it is possible that you have god-like properties, like those beyond regular humans, and then those who are human. So you could have a mix of DNA. So you could um interpret that scientifically, right? um Someone who has both God or another um, God DNA and human DNA can mate with someone who has only human DNA, right? We have hybrid species. We have Cro-Magnon and Neanderthal ancestry, I believe, right? Yeah, so that's it. So, okay, a lot of things to think about. On the surface, of course, Tron Legacy is also just an epic movie, lots of action scenes, lots of cool music, yeah, by Daft Punk. I really listen to the soundtrack, you know. It helps me study, but yeah, you can just enjoy it as is. Or it can, yeah, help stimulate you while you're driving, while you're making your own computer programs and stuff. So yeah, Tron Legacy has a lot of great, yeah, I think it's a complete movie for me. Yeah, you have everything there. You have philosophy, you have relationships, yeah, you have spiritual aspects, you have the soundtrack, you have the visuals. Yeah, so it's mind, body, soul, and everything else. And interestingly, yeah, maybe you might want to watch it specifically because that's where we're going. A lot of people are saying we are now in the end times, the end of the world as we know it, but we are going to something better, right? All the corruption, all the evil in the past world, it is falling now. That system is crumbling. And what is ahead of us is a better system, more openness, which is going to be used for the good. Openness so that, you know, to make sure that everyone is saying what they're is doing what they're saying. Everybody would have good intentions, or, you know, just be open and honest. Yeah, so it won't be used. Um, you might say, oh, there's no more privacy, but of course, privacy again can be used for evil, right? For a long time, evil has hid behind privacy. So, yeah, a lot of abundance for everyone, and yeah, openness, good intentions. If you are familiar with, yeah, the prophecies in the Jewish and Christian traditions, yes, this seems like the apocalypse, but the apocalypse means revealing, revelation, literally. So it is revealing what? Things about our world, things about God and about ourselves. It's not all destruction. Remember, so yeah, whether you're, again, whether you're a Christian or not, um, let us not emphasize the fear. Let us emphasize, isn't this about the second coming of Christ? And those who are called New Age, right? Those who believe differently will consider Christ like Buddha and all the other wise ascended masters are saying that, yeah, before we have all these wise men and women who have, a great connection, personal connection to the divine. But all of us now are going to experience that. Like we can all be like Jesus, like Buddha. The amazing thing is, I get a lot of disagreements, and I understand that because for those who are familiar with the Christian tradition, right? They say, "Oh, let's not listen to other things. Let us only listen to this." But how can you make sure if you are listening to the right thing, if you are not checking with others? And yeah, in the Bible itself, it says test and see, taste and see, and then also test and see, yeah, if what you are learning and what you're hearing is true. And also in that same Bible, it says, yeah, we can grow more and more in Christ likeness. Christ, yeah, the original meaning of Christ, as in Jesus Christ, is anointed one, right? So we can all be anointed. And it also says in the Bible, we can all be gods, small g, but we have that divine spark. The divine spark that God breathed into Adam and Eve, right? So give that. So previously, Adam was just earth, it was just clay. But then God gave that divine spark. How different is that from all the other stories that have, gods fashioning men and giving them life? And again, how different is that from us, typing a few lines of code, just a few phrases, and then suddenly, hey, there's a computer program. There's now a robot. Yeah. So because before, I have to admit, yeah, when my brother said, "Oh, it looks like this robot is having life," and I said, "No, that can't be right because you just typed a few lines of code." But I now get, yeah, so either that creature can have its own consciousness even though it's limited compared to me, or you could have other consciousnesses, yeah, taking that form or possessing that object, whatever. But yeah, so a lot of things to think about. So Tron Legacy is not just, a fight movie with flashing lights and a killer soundtrack. It's really more than that. So yeah, it wasn't a hit when it was released, I believe, yeah, but it's become a cult classic. So yeah, I really, really encourage everyone. Please get a copy, and yeah, hopefully we'll get even the third one in the trilogy. So thank you everyone for listening. Have I said everything? Yeah, that's it. So take care and God bless. Bye bye.